first in a series of educational videos all about belly dance with the veil. I love dancing with a veil. It's something I've done for years, yet it's something that I haven't put any instructional videos up about, so I apologize about that. Let's get started. This is a primer for those of you who have never danced with a veil of any sort to kind of show you how to get started. I have two veils that I'm going to show to you here today. I'm a huge fan of silk veils. You can find other types of veils that also are very fun to dance with. Silk is my preference because of the lightweightness of it and how airy it is and how it flows and how it moves with my movement. And so I have been an avid silk veil user for probably the last 12 or 13 years or so. So we will be talking exclusively about silk veil. Most of these movements can be done with chiffon veils or lurex veils or whatever else you find. You just might find that the weight and the shape of the veil as they move might be a little bit different. This is a 3-yard rectangular silk veil. This is what I almost always dance with, though I also use semicircular veils from time to time. So I have one of those to show you. Here is a semicircular veil, so you can see that it has a rounded edge on it. This is also a beautiful veil to use. I find I really like it if I'm doing double veil. It has to be a semicircular. And if I'm doing a lot of spins and turns and barrel turns, the semicircular is also really nice. They will both work great for everything that I teach here fairly interchangeably. It maybe is more of a matter of personal preference, so whichever shape you have should be great. So, starting with our veil, let's talk about how we're going to hold our veil, which is actually really important. There are a couple of different ways of placing your hands on the veil, both of which will work, and only one rule that I have. So let's get the rule out of the way. We're not going to use our thumb when we hold our veil. At no point in time am I going to actually grab the veil in my hand where my thumb is active, because that tends to reduce the movability of the veil. It reduces your ability to flick the veil with your wrist, and it generally prevents the veil from flying very well, so no thumbs. The way that I've done this for years, scissor fingers, so taking my index and my middle finger, when the veil is in front of me, I have generally scissored the veil this way, with my index finger closer to me and my middle finger further away on either side, so scissoring the veil. If you put the veil behind you, this tends to be how I set up to start using the veil all of the time. So I put the veil behind me. I am going to look at the two ends and make sure they're about even. And then I'm going to bring my arms out to the side until they are almost completely straight. Not completely straight, but almost completely straight. I have a little bit of a bend, and you'll notice that across my back, the veil is totally taut. I want that. I don't want a big sort of gappy, loose bit of veil behind me, because that will tend to get stuck in your hair and stuck on your head. So when I set up my veil, arms are almost straight, veil is straight across the back. So here's those scissor fingers, right? I've got my middle finger and my index finger. When I dance with the veil mostly, I will have my index finger on the top and my middle finger on the bottom. I have also worked with dancers who do it the reverse, with your index finger on the bottom and your middle finger on the top. Also works great. So a couple of different ways to hold on to the veil. Scissor fingers, you can either index finger on top or index finger on the bottom. The way I will be showing you today, I index finger on the top, middle finger is on the bottom, so it's kind of hidden underneath my veil, right? So that's your basic setup. So once again, bringing the veil behind you, pulling it almost taut, making sure your ends are even in the front, and scissoring the veil. When we start to work with the veil, a couple of things to remember. The veil is your dance partner. It is not a thing that you are flinging around behind you and around you, but you are working with it, dancing with it, moving with it. So everything that I show you will include movements that we do to facilitate the movement of the veil and to make it a partner dance. The wrist is the key, right? No thumbs, and the wrist is the key when we start talking about getting movement of the veil. So bring your veil behind you and let me show you how this works. So watch this and try to replicate it on your own. When you bring the veil up above your head, if I bring it up and I keep my arms straight, it's pretty. There's some nice movement going on there. But if I bring it up and then I flick my wrist at the very top of that movement, the last possible second in that movement, I flick my wrist from down to up, I get this beautiful toss of the veil. It grabs a little bit of extra air and it creates a really nice shape behind me. So everything we do, when we toss the veil, there'll be an element of wrist involved that gets the veil going, right? So now that you have the basics, you've picked out a veil, you have a rectangular or a semicircular, possibly silk, possibly chiffon, just play with it. See what you can do with it, move it around, get to understand the weight and the flow of it and how it works with your movement, and then join me for some future videos to show you some really cool veil tricks that you can integrate into your dance. See you next time.